Hello, I'm Jaclyn Seymour, and here's what's in the news. A domino crash that left 3 people dead and seriously injured a state trooper is still being cleaned up more than 24 hours later. The 50-car pileup in Sandusky County shut down the eastbound turnpike lanes and left many travelers stranded. The wreckage is still causing traffic more than 24 hours after the fatal turnpike accident that killed 3 people and seriously injured State Trooper Andrew Clouser. The high-miler truck stop off the turnpike became a pit stop for travelers. Cleveland's Diana Lasecki planned to meet her son AJ, who attends the University of Toledo, at an exit halfway, but the 50-car pileup backed up that idea.
A lot of the trucks are turned wrong side and just twisted and mangled and just insane.
We're here 10 miles away from where the scene of the accident happened, and as you can see behind me, that's how far traffic is backed up. The cause of the accident is still under investigation, but likely whiteout conditions were a factor. FedEx driver Jimmy Perenni drove through it.
It's time of the season, you got to deal with it.
Jimmy chose to wait out the traffic.
Go set it until it opens up and then go to my destination.
But Diana still has to make her way back to Cleveland. She's finding an alternative route.
We're looking at going Route 53 north. There's no way. I would be sitting there for hours.
Police tell me that the right lane should open by tonight, but the left lane will shut down tomorrow to remove remaining debris. The trooper remains in critical condition. The heroin epidemic is destroying families all over Northeast Ohio, but in Geauga County, a pilot project is trying to not only keep families together, but also prevent future addicts from developing. The heroin epidemic is sweeping the country, and the youngest victims are not getting high, instead becoming homeless.
Heroin is the number one reason that we've seen this increase in the number of children in custody.
Heroin addiction is destroying families. Geauga County Job and Family Services are often forced with difficult decisions.
No matter how old the child is, it's always a very difficult decision to make to remove a child.
First, they look to a kinship option, like a grandparent, aunt, or uncle.
We know that that's the least traumatic option for a child to be placed with someone that they know.
Social service agencies have their hands full because of the heroin epidemic, but they're further reaching out to bring awareness to the community. But that is not always a possibility, and as the number of children go up, the number of places to go down.
We are running out of families that are able to take the children that are coming into custody.
Programs try to raise awareness. Juvenile Judge Tim Grandel created the FLIP program to work with the families and parents affected by heroin.
The more resources you can throw, the sooner, and give support and also encouragement to stay off the drugs, the better you're going to end up.
It's a simple equation.
You have to make a choice, your children or heroin.
Heroin addiction cannot be fixed overnight, but the children can now sleep safely. Right now, the program is paid for by the general fund. They're hoping to add more families and prevent new addicts from developing. Getting a ride across town is now made possible with just the push of a button. 2 ride services launched in Cleveland that make getting a ride possible in style and comfort, no cash needed. Need a ride in Cleveland? A craze in major cities across the country arrived on your streets. Car services Lyft and Uber use a free app that links to your credit card. Cash-free, hassle-free. You have 2 choices. You can get a ride in an SUV, or you can get a more affordable economy car, all with the push of a button. With Uber Black, you get picked up in a high-end vehicle. Costs about 40% more than a taxi. With Uber X, you get picked up in a more affordable car. Costs on average about 20% less than a taxi.
And within 5 minutes, you're going to get a driver arrive ready to take you wherever you need to go.
Or ride shotgun with Uber's recognizable competitor. Lyft greets you with a pink mustache and a fist bump. They consider themselves a ride-sharing company.
We try to make our riding a fun, friendly environment. We offer snacks, we offer drinks. Just if you want to play music, feel free.
Drivers go through background checks and must have clean driving records, just like the familiar taxi service. And as for those drivers, they don't seem to be worried.
Competition is always good, we accept the challenge.
Both services background check the drivers and they must be insured. The app sends you their picture, name, and car, and the driver gets the picture and your name. Thank you for watching. I'm Jaclyn Seymour. Hope to see you soon. The body of missing 16-year-old Camden Cole was found at about 11:21 this morning. Cole disappeared around 7:30 Tuesday evening. After hours of searching, rescue teams found the body of missing Camden Cole here at Springfield Lake, about 10 feet below the surface of the water. Screams for help filled the air of Springfield Lake Tuesday evening when Cole became distressed and struggled to stay above the water. Cole and his friend were attempting to swim to a buoy about 500 feet from shore. The other boy tried to assist Cole until he was going to be dragged under also. The other boys swam back to shore to get help. Friends described Cole as caring and carefree.
I knew he was just a kick to be around. I mean, he was awesome. He was a really carefree kid and had a lot of friends.
He was a caring guy. Loved his friends too, so it's sad. A lot of people lost a good friend.
The family described Cole as a strong swimmer.
In speaking with the family, he was a very good swimmer according to them.
Sonar scanning boats and divers were used for hours in the search and rescue, but darkness, severe weather, and fatigue called off the search. The search resumed at 7 this morning. Officials hope this tragedy brings awareness to the dangers of swimming. As for Springfield Township, they are still in shock.
I don't know. I can't really wrap my head around it. It's heartbreaking.
It's just shocking. I mean, it's so surreal to me still. Like, I just can't even believe it.
The tornado that tore through Brunswick Monday evening, ripping the roof off of one home and damaging at least a half a dozen others, thankfully hurt no one. But a homeowner's worst nightmare is hauling their damaged belongings to the side of the curb. Disaster can happen at any time, and phony contractors prey on homeowners possibly like the one behind me. But how can you protect yourself? Beware, contractors in Ohio do not have to be licensed.
So you're vulnerable to out-of-state contractors that start canvassing neighborhoods, knocking on doors, and trying to get you to sign contracts on the spot.
Sue McConnell is a senior vice president with the Better Business Bureau, says this happens often.
After a few months have gone by, we start getting complaints from homeowners who may have picked the wrong contractor. And now they're having problems with the quality of the work that was done, and they can't find the contractor.
To protect yourself, research. Get more than one estimate and supervise contractors when you can. Use reputable resources like bbb.asap.org. It sends an alert to an accredited contractor closest to your location after you select the service you want. You can also look at the license plate on a company's truck to make sure you are hiring a local company. Thousands of Northeast Ohioans are feeling the pain of potholes, both physically and also in their wallets. But now there is a way to cover those scraped, dented, cracked rims and blown out tires that can cost hundreds of dollars to fix.
It's everything from the actual wheel being completely destroyed, as you can see behind me, to cosmetic damage that we can fix also.
Many local dealerships offer an insurance policy to repair those scraped, dented, cracked rims and blown out tires for up to 5 years and 3 years for leases. This package is something you should really consider, especially if you have an expensive car. Covers everything from cosmetic damage, dented rims, and even completely cracked rims. But how much does it really cost?
It's really less than a cup of coffee a day. And if you compare that to the amount of money you're going to have to pay for replacing a tire and wheel, it also covers windshields, which can cost $1,000 a pop. It's going to be much more affordable to be more proactive and invest in your protection ahead of time.
Just like any insurance plan, paying up front not pleasant, but down the road can save you a lot of money. If you did not purchase this package at the time of your car, you can still go back to the dealership and purchase the policy. They just inspect your tires first. 7 years old, several hundred people treated, but still, this clinic is somewhat of a secret and often found by a Google search.
So being able to provide healthcare services in an affirming environment is something very important for us, and we believe that'll help improve the health status of this population of people.
Metro Health's Dr. Henry Ng is the director of the only dedicated LGBT health center in the state of Ohio. The McCafferty Health Center, located right here in Ohio City, is the only facility from New York to Chicago that specifically specializes in the health needs of the LGBT community. So why is something like this needed for sexual minorities?
They don't necessarily feel well received or respected or well cared for by providers, especially those who may not have received any training or education in LGBT health. So we have some gaps that we're trying to work on and close.
Cleveland's progressive attitude is growing. The LGBT community welcomed to march in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. The gay games are coming in August, and this clinic a go-to destination. Drinking and driving is a problem every year, and this year is proving to be no exception, with the Ohio State Highway Patrol already making more than 3,500 OVI stops. But now there may be a way to test whether you are safe to get behind the wheel. Breathalyzer-type devices are a new way to test your blood alcohol levels before being forced to test them in front of a cop.
I think it's pretty awesome. It's definitely good for people to be able to, check out their alcohol levels before they try to drink and drive.
Now there's a take-home test to see if you're above the legal limit before the cops arrive. But does it work? So we wanted to put the devices to the test. Senior health correspondent Monica Robbins, David, and Dan tested the $50 breathometer that uses an app on your phone and the $20 Impega alcohol tester that just plugs into your phone. But this was not your average day of drinking. We are at the Bay Village Police Department where Officer Mark Palmer kept an eye on our testers. First, Monica, David, and Dan tested the breathometers to make sure they registered 0 alcohol. They were accurate. Then Palmer administered the 3 field sobriety tests. All 3 passed. Then they started drinking. David, a moderate drinker, is consuming light beer. Dan, a social drinker, is consuming wine. And Monica, who rarely drinks, opted for shots of hard liquor to get it over quickly. According to the directions, the testers must wait 20 minutes after finishing their drink for the breathometers to work. About 60 minutes into the test, after their 3rd drink, all 3 were still way under the legal limit. Monica was feeling the effects, but had a false sense of security because the devices said she was safe.
They're a gauge. They're kind of all over the place.
The test was a total of 90 minutes, each tester consuming 4 drinks. 20 minutes after the final drink, the devices started to skyrocket. David and Dan were both legally drunk. Monica was nearly twice the legal limit. Now the real test, the police department's intoxilizer. David tested safe at .03. Making his results drastically different from the devices. Dan and Monica's intoxilizer's results were close to the breathometers at .1, but the Impega was way off, saying they were under the legal limit at .07.
It's a toy. It would be something, if you're going to buy it, don't rely on it. I would rely on the idea that if you've been drinking, don't drive. Get a cab, get a ride, don't drink. Drink at home.
The only thing you can truly rely on is not drinking and driving. Monica, David, and Dan were safely driven home, but nothing is safe about drinking and driving.